I've been having a lot of thoughts about passing recently because right now I don't look trans to strangers. I look like a cis white woman, and so in some ways I carry the privilege of a cis white woman.
Hey everyone, I caught myself my awesome buddy Jake today. And so Jake and I are going to do some reactions to these trans mask, trans men, non passing. I don't know. But hey, Jake,
Hey,
love
Buck.
that you're here. How's it going,
Yeah.
dude?
Not bad, not bad. Glad to be back. Was super exciting with the interview and everything. And
Right
yeah,
on.
happy to be back, Buck.
So let's listen to this one this one says some insane stuff all the time. So we're going to start with this.
I've been having a lot of thoughts about passing recently because right now I don't look trans to strangers. I look like a cis white woman, and so in some ways I carry the privilege of a cis white woman. Like, I'm not at threat of being hate crimed on the street for being trans at any moment. But my transition goal is to
What?
not pass. My transition goal is to look like a trans person. My transition goal is to have a chest and have a beard, to have a deep voice, but to wear dresses. And it feels weird moving from a position of like safety and privilege and purposely choosing to be clockable, knowing that that puts me at danger of being hate crimed in the future. And also
What?
feeling like, okay, other trans people try really, really hard their whole lives to go stealth or to pass really well, do voice training, do hormones, get surgeries, just for safety, in addition to feeling comfortable with themselves. And
Okay,
I,
wait, I
this
got to
person of
stop for a
privilege,
minute,
am
dude.
going,
Yeah.
What are you? First off, they're putting words in our mouth. I don't know why you transitioned. Was it for safety?
No,
What?
that wasn't exactly on the top of my thought process. I feel uncomfortable in my body. I feel like I was supposed to be a male, but I wasn't born that way. So now what do I do?
There you go. And that's it. That's what I want people to see. This person is saying so many I and remember what I said earlier. I didn't transition to be trans. I transitioned to be a man. This person is actually transitioning to be trans. Did you hear that? She's like,
Yeah,
I'm saying she because that's just how I see it.
right.
They're transitioning to be trans. That's the difference. They want to live in their this identity of trans. I
Yeah,
don't. I'm very confused.
yeah, it's very it's it's just so perplexing. I don't get it in any way, shape, or form. It's like I am trans. My goal is to be a man, not to be
That's
trans.
right. That's why we have to separate, and we need people to see that. And if you and I walked into the men's room, no one would even bat an eye. If this person did, all hell's going to break loose.
Oh yeah,
And so,
that would not be a cozy situation by any means.
and also, that's what people need to see. We really make an effort to walk the world so people aren't uncomfortable. I don't want somebody to be uncomfortable around me. And, I want to be a part of the world. I don't want to, I really think people are doing this trans mask, non passing stuff just to sort of make people upset.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the goal is to create as much discomfort as
right
possible.
on. Right on.
Which is definitely not my objective by any means. It's like I went, it's like I got all the surgeries and I now possess a penis. I can go and stand at the urinal like
There
any
you
other
go.
guy does and
No one
create
knows.
zero discomfort for anyone.
Right on, which makes your life better, dude. And
Yeah.
that's why I love calling these people out because it's mind blowing to me. Let's try to get through the rest of this
Yeah.
insanity, dude. Yeah.
no, I think I want exactly what you don't want. I'm going to choose to put myself in harm's way just because I feel like I want to look that way or I want my body to
What?
be that way. Like, it feels mean and disrespectful.
That's what I wanted to address. This harm's way. Now, how long have you been transitioned, Jake?
I'm about to hit 15 years in
Right
just a
on.
couple of days. So, yeah, a long time.
Right on. Okay, so now I'm 32, you're 15. We're pretty solid in our space. I don't think I've ever felt like in harm's way. I mean, you understand what she's keeps using this trope that trans people are under attack and she's going to be in harm's way. And what are you talking about? That's just not part of my 32 years of experience. What?
Yeah, it's like no, because like even like prior to certain surgeries, it's like you knew how to keep yourself covered up, and there were certain things you just didn't do. It's like I would not have
That's
gone
right.
into like a men's locker room at a gym or something prior to
That's
some of my
right.
surgeries already being done, because that's just asking for shit to go down. And so it's like we learned how to navigate things so that we didn't end
That's
up in
right.
harm's way, and that may
That's right.
have meant you avoided certain situations.
Yes.
As much as that
Yes.
would suck, that's something you do.
Privilege. I have privilege, and I'm putting myself in harm's way. No, you're not. You're making shit up. Don't try it.
But at the same time, like, I'm really, really proud to be a trans person. And I want it to be upfront with like every single stranger that I meet. Like, I am not a cis person. If you hate trans people, you hate me. I'm here. This is what I look like.
See? Again. They want people to know they're not. I'm going to speak for myself, but my ultimate goal was to be a cis person, to look cis, to
Yeah.
walk the world as cis. What are you talking? So she doesn't even want to be cis. She wants to make people know that she's trans.
Yeah, it's like it seems like her objective is yeah, she wants to be recognized as a trans person, not as either a man or a woman. She wants to be recognized as a trans person.
That's right.
A trans person is in front of you. But it's also like really, really tiring because right now I feel overwhelmed by being trans and like everybody hates me already. And I don't have that like.
It really, really tiring. Now, do you believe that? I don't. If it's tiring, you just wouldn't say it.
Yeah. So it's like if you're tired of dealing with the repercussions of being visible as a trans person, well, there's a real easy way to solve that problem. It's like don't parade around as a trans person.
Just button it. Nice to know.
It's like if you have no interest in actually transitioning, if you're perfectly fine being perceived as a female, which you clearly are a female, it's like then just don't say you're trans and just let people assume that you're just a female.
That's right.
That fixes that problem real easy.
God, the victim mentality is so insane, dude. Like,
cushion of the end goal of transition being like safety. It's just always going to suck if I want to be who I am. And I basically just wish that we lived in a world that didn't hate trans people so we could look however we wanted to and we didn't have to mold our transition around cis strangers to make ourselves safe.
What is that person? Okay, to the world out there who is watching this person is full of BS. I'm telling you right now. I don't feel unsafe walking the world. I love walking around with you. I love hanging out with you. I just disagree with everything this person said. They are creating this divide between us, between trans people and you. And everything this person said is made up in their head. And where's the unsafeness? I really want to know where the unsafeness is.
It's just so ridiculous. It's like I never feel unsafe ever.
That's right.
So
you know what they're going to say?
Yeah.
They're going to say about you and I is that we have passing privilege. So that's why we feel safe. That's what they're going to say.
Because we have, it's like, well, it's most actual trans people do tend to have passing privilege because the goal is to pass.
It's the point.
It's not a privilege if that's what the goal is.
I mean, God, these words they make up, and then this whole idea that we're under attack, and like it's not 1950. Let me just tell you, we're not under attack.
No.
The only thing that's under attack is idiots transitioning children and doing weird stuff, and then acting like this. That's what's under attack. Even from me, I'm not going to put up with these people. Right. They're actually ruining everything you and I have done to make this a better space for young trans guys to come up behind us and feel safe enough to that thing that feels safe. Like now it's in my brain. Like, no, it's not about feeling safe. It's about understanding this is the goal. You can get here if you just focus on you and not this community nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like all the laws and things that everybody's all up in arms about, they've all been about kids, not transitioning, and then the ones where it's basically eliminating the informed consent model. It's like, no, you do need to spend time in therapy. No, you cannot start hormones with a 20-minute appointment online. You need to do some work before you get to that step. That's what these laws are actually doing, which is what they should be doing. We should not just be giving kids hormones like it's free candy. We should not let someone just walk into a doctor's office and sign a piece of paper and say, okay, I'm ready to start transition now, when I've only been thinking about it for the last about 5 minutes.
Reacting to hate comments I get as a transmasc person who presents feminine sometimes. Starting with, y'all just can make up your mind. Thing is, I don't have to make up my mind, and it doesn't bother me, but it seems to bother you. The next one is, nah, don't get the top surgery. Too many women have regrets. The whole point is that I am not a woman, and even cis women can get top surgery if they want to. Also, a recent study found out that almost no one regrets getting top surgery.
That's what I'm talking about. They put false information out there. That is actually a big lie. I know for a fact, because I've interviewed a lot of D-trans female to male young girls who cut their boobs off and regret it beyond belief, and that's only touching on it. Wow. I just find it irresponsible that these people put these videos out there, right? And then she because I'm going to call her she, because she is a female, and she said that she's not a woman. Okay, you're not a woman, but you're female, so I don't care what you say, you're female, and that's just the reality of it. But why aren't they? I guess I want to ask you this, Jake. Why do you think that they don't want to do what you and I did?
Yeah, and that's something that I've thought about a lot. It's like what is the whole deal? I think when the notion was presented that people's identities could be ambiguous, that then they started confusing identity and presentation. It's like they want to present themselves in this way, so then their identity must also be in this weird, ambiguous space. I think it was a double-edged sword when trans people became more visible. It's like it was a good thing and a bad thing at the exact same time, because now people are seeing, oh, this is an option, when it's like, no, it's not an option. It's just something some people are and have to deal with. It's like it's not an option for you to experiment with whatever it is that you're trying to experiment with.
Wow.
Because
I
agree. The whole concept of like gender bending and being fluid in presentation, that's been around for decades, and I'm sure someone going back to your days in the 70s, 80s, that was a huge deal. But it was about presentation. It's like, men could wear dresses, women could wear suits. It was, it's like you knew it, you were there, and that's right. And now people are confusing that with, oh, that must mean the identity is also in this weird, ambiguous space. When it's like, no, you're still a man or a woman. You're just dressing and presenting how you would like to do, as you see fit, which is great. No issues there. Just make it clear that that's what you're doing.
Yes. But that's what trans is. Basically, it was called androgyny. And that's what trans is now. That's why I think that I like to distinguish between that and transsexual, because trans is now an identity, like androgyny. I mean, you're right. I grew up in that. I was a fashion model in the 80s, and that's why I got hired, because I was so androgynous. You couldn't tell if I was a boy or a girl, and it was celebrated. And then in the 80s, it became long hair bands. Remember, like all the bands, the dudes had long hair, and they actually wore makeup, and they wore lipstick, and they were full on gender bending, but they were not trans, and they were not gay. They were all straight dudes, but they played with this sort of feminine space. It was actually really cool. I thought that was so powerful, that a man could feel so comfortable being sort of in this space, but still be a man.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the whole idea, and now they've taken that concept and it has gone to who knows where, and it's like, oh, if my presentation is in this space, then my identity must also be in the space. Like, no, that's not the way it works. That's not how it works.
They co-opted transsexualism, and they co-opted this trans thing, and you don't need gender dysphoria. Let's finish this wingnut right here. They just irritate me.
All you need is good, and you'll be back to normal. Well, judging by your comment, I don't think I want to take advice from someone who hasn't been near a vagina since the day you were born. And I don't want to fit into what normal means to you either. The last one is get a job. You know what? Maybe I will take advice from you, since you're working overtime in my comment section.
See, they're just angry. They're just angry. When I was on TikTok looking for stuff, there's just so much anger and resentment, it feels like, and they don't feel happy to me on some level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see a lot of that too. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels very hostile, very resentful.
Yes.
It's just very
Yes.
because yeah, there was some of that during like the punk rock heydays and the emo
Yeah.
phase, which is more my generation,
Yeah.
but it was never to this extent.
No.
It was just kind of my parents don't understand me, and I'm
Of
gonna wear
course.
black and just be depressing all the time. And I'm like, okay, you go, you know what, you do you, boo boo. But this is to a whole other level to where
Totally.
now it's like it is becoming dangerous because they're starting to act out from this.
That's right.
It's
It's
like
scary.
they're being told to hate these kids are being
Yes.
told your parents hate you if they don't agree with your transition.
I
And
can't
it's
take
and
it.
and it's like no, it's like if this is genuinely what you need to do because you're actually struggling with dysphoria and you do need
Yes.
to go down this pipeline, it's like your parents will eventually they will come around and it's going to be and you're going to be okay.
That's right.
But
That's right.
it's like you need to give yourself the time to figure that out first.
But
Because
that's
the
why
thing.
your voice is important, my
Yeah.
friend, because you are younger than me and transition younger than I did. And also I think the young generation will see you more than they see me because I am older and it's just a thing. And I speak more to I just speak more outside of the trans community. I have
Sure.
I think a bigger format, especially of women on some level. But that being said, this is why you're important in this whole conversation, my friend. And I do appreciate you always showing up to this because they will on some level see you and say, oh, well, look at Jake. He totally got it together. He's totally done with his surgeries and he's living his life and not bitching about life all day long. And I think that we need more role models like you for these kids to see that whatever this is, because in 5 years, I guarantee you, all the kids we're probably bringing up here in 5 years will be back to living in their, just in their gender and probably married and have kids or gay or you know what I mean, and being like cringed out that they even said this stuff on TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It's going to be like the punk kids and the emo kids that eventually grew out of it, and they're like,
Totally.
"What?" And they're like, "What the hell was I thinking?"
But I'm going to say this. This is why the thing I have a problem. When you and I were doing this, the internet wasn't really around. Maybe for you it was, but not for me. And
I mean,
so
it was there, but it wasn't nearly to the level that it is now. It's like
that's right.
it's like it's like I had to dig to find anything online.
Yeah.
It's like you dug for like those homemade websites that looked
That's
like they
right.
were put together with chewing gum and spit, and it's like and you had to really dig on like YouTube to find maybe a few people
Yeah.
that were posting online.
That's
And
right.
and being more public about their transition because most trans people weren't. They were
No.
very private because they're like, I just want to get through my transition and then go be in the world and not
That's
have
right.
to talk about it.
That's right.
That's what people wanted to do back then. So it's
That's
like
right.
you had to hunt for the information. It wasn't just sitting on a silver platter
No.
on your phone like how it is now.
That's the danger of it. And then people are saying, you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. Well, then why? What's happening? But that's the danger for these kids. And it's not just like being emo because some of these kids are doing surgeries.
Yeah,
and some
exactly.
of these kids
Emo
are
was
taking hormones.
yeah.
Emo's just clothes.
Yeah, emo was just wearing black clothes and maybe some nail polish, and
Totally.
it's like it was for the most part it was harmless. It's like it was just
Yes.
experimenting with presentation, and it was
That's right.
and if the kid changed their mind in 2 seconds, it was no big deal. It was like, okay, I guess
right.
we'll have to go buy you a new wardrobe now. That was
Big
was the
deal.
worst case scenario. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait for your hair to grow back because you cut it all off. that was the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But now it's like they're being put on drugs and having irreversible surgery. It's like this is such a different level of
Yes.
of commitment that they aren't real that they're
not
ready.
committing.
No.
They're not. Like you and I committed, dude. You committed. You did all the surgeries. You're committed. There is no turning back, and you know it. And it's
Yeah.
why it is important for people to see this is a commitment. It's not a game. We didn't just take this on and say, well, tomorrow maybe we'll change our mind. For myself, I never thought that. I knew the minute I could get this space, there was no turning back. I don't think they think like that. They think like, if I change my mind, I'll just go off hormones, right? Or if I change my mind, then it's reversible. How are you saying surgery is reversible? How?
It's like no. In most cases, it's not.
No.
No.
You can get fake boobs put on, but that's not the same as having the boobs. What if you want to have a baby?
It's not really reversible. It's like they can maybe do
not.
something to maybe try and reconstruct, but
that's right.
Because they do that for women that have had breast cancer and they have reconstruction.
Different.
But it's not the
right.
same as what they had before, and it never can. And it never can be.
Never can be. That's right.
So,
it's totally the opposite of that. So, I know to you young people who are probably watching, and I hope you are, you need to understand we care about you. It's the reason why we say these things. And we're pointing out these people that we feel are not a positive influence to this community. And, I think Jake and I don't want to see you get into a situation of surgery, of top surgery, like it's just something at 15. It scares me that so many young girls are doing that, dude. You can't make that choice at 15. You will grow up and be like, what did I do? Some of them aren't even getting nipples put on.
Yeah, I've noticed that that's kind of a new thing now, where there's the lack of nipples, because it's like they don't look right when they're done, or it's like it reduces the complication rate, and I'm like, the complication rate of putting nipples on is almost nothing.
That's right.
And
Who's
I'm
saying
like,
that?
And I'm like, and you're concerned about how it looks. It's like, what's going to look weirder? Nipples that kind of look funny looking nipples, or no nipples? What looks more out of place in this picture?
Oh my God, can you imagine? Like, where are your nipples? Like, crooked nipples, no one even notices. And also, dudes have crooked nipples.
It's like nipples come in all different shapes and sizes. And I don't think anyone looks that closely at other people's nipples.
They don't.
At least I would hope not. I mean,
they don't. They don't, dude. It's not a thing. But somebody put it into these kids' head. And now I think that's called nullification surgery, where you can literally get no nipples, and you can also get your genitals, like no genitals. You can have your genitals literally wiped out and like made into like a mound. I'm not kidding.
I heard about that. I can't remember the surgeon that does it, but it's one of the big like ones.
Portland, he's in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that the no nipple thing kind of came in with when the non-binary crowd started infiltrating because their goal is to not look like a man or a woman. So
that's right.
They're just a no nipple, genderless alien. That's what they want to look like.
I mean, if you want to do that at 25, you go right ahead. But at 15, no.
No, absolutely not.
Hell no. I found this. This will be the last one, but this one I found, which I also feel a little bit disturbed by, because it's just something about it. Let's watch and then we'll comment on it.
This is an excellent question because, oh my God, when I first opened the package of needles, I was like, how am I going to put that in my body?
Trigger warning, needles. So when you're on T, you're going to get 2 things of needles. I have these ones that come in the syringe, and if I put my pinky up next to it, they're quite big. And I have these tiny ones. I'll get one out for you. So these are the smaller ones, and again, putting my pinky up next to it, this one is significantly smaller. So what these big needles are for is when you get your testosterone, you'll realize it's kind of a thick oil. It's the testosterone is suspended in this really thick oil.
So is this a trans man?
I think that's what they're claiming to be. Whether or not they actually are is debatable.
I'm like, what?
So you need a bigger needle to draw up the medication way easier. So in my video, I showed me drying up with this needle, and then I take this needle off, and then you actually use these little guys to
It cut me off. So use this to draw up the medication.
Why are we letting this person tell us how to shoot our testosterone? Shouldn't you be learning that from a doctor?
I would hope so. I would hope that you would learn that from a doctor.
It's not just playtime. You can actually get air in in the bubbles, which is not good. And I don't
No,
even
it
know
is
if they're
not. It is
no,
not.
it is no. And so they're probably not even talking. Well, let's see. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but even that, this isn't a doctor. This is a
And this
girl
to
telling you
inject
how
it
to
in
shoot
yourself. And what
testosterone.
that does is, with a bigger needle, it's like wider and longer, so you can stick it in and it's up the medication way faster than this needle would. You could still do it with this needle, but it would take a bit. And, you know, obviously you want the smallest needle size possible to inject something into your body, because big needles
Not with an intramuscular shot, you don't.
so
Because then
Totally, dude.
you want a little bit of a
Tiny
thicker
needle
needle because
for
it's going to be
you,
easier to
big
get it
needle
in.
for the juice.
Of course, for anyone on T, don't forget to get cool band-aids.
Okay, see,
If you
it's
do it
all-
right, you shouldn't need a Band-Aid, because unless you nick something that you shouldn't be, it's
Band-Aid?
not gonna bleed.
that a Band-Aid. The whole is so like what? That's why I'm telling you, these people are actually telling people how to shoot without the knowledge of this. And also, it isn't good to use a smaller needle. It is not good. It takes longer for it to go in. And you're right, intermuscular, you need a longer needle. What, man? This is that should be illegal for these people to be talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was a thing. Like you're not supposed to be giving medical advice or something unless you're a medical professional. I thought
That's
we had
right.
laws around that, but
We do.
But, you know, that's neither here nor there apparently.
Apparently, they kind of, that Eli Ehrlich, whatever person, is like hoarding hormones and giving them to their friends, their lovers, and their worst enemies. I'm like, you're a psychopath. Like, that is so dangerous to just give away hormones like candy. Wow, dude, our community. It's not our. Well, I don't consider it that anymore. It's lost.
No, it went far, far away.
It's it's like I said, and we're gonna end here, but I'm gonna say this, and then I want you to say something. But you watch in 5 years, all these young people are not going to be trans anymore, and all of them are gonna. Who's going to clean up the mess? It's like they're making a huge mess for the actual transsexuals, and we're going to be sitting here going, "We told you so." Nobody listened to us. These kids shouldn't have access to hormones like it's just so easy to do, or surgery. If you want to have surgery, you can. Why? Why would we make it so accessible to people who are clearly struggling with something else that is not being addressed? So I just want to say that I think we have made a huge mistake.
Yep.
Yeah. So with that, everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jake. I love you, buddy. You're so awesome. And I'll see you guys all on the next one. Like, subscribe, do all that other stuff. And then I'll see you on the live on Wednesday. Leave comments. They're very important so we can sort of end all this nonsense.